Well, it's been a while, but don't fear, the game is still being further developed. In fact, so many things happened since last video, I'm not sure how much I can fit into this one. In the last video I said the following things. In the next episode I plan to add the plant growing system, the mothership arriving to collect resources, a redesigned HUD, the steel production, more materials and buildable pieces, and maybe an ore mining system, depending on how much can be done. Oh, and of course the plants you suggested in this episode. And I can say that all of these things were added to the game. Except for maybe some plants, but we're still actively working on more plants in the background. One info out front, the Discord server that I already mentioned last video has continued to grow, and it's gotten to the place where I show most of the progress I make, and also where more and more people hang out, chat and help each other. So give it a shot and join the server, the link is in the description. While we're talking about the plants, here are some of the designs we got. Both of these ones were made by Andrew, shout out to him, they look fantastic. And this is what they look like in game. This one Andrew made himself with a little help from my side regarding the textures, but UV unwrapping and modeling he did himself. In game these gem plants can be harvested and the gems can later be sold for a good value to the company. The gems we have right now are adamite, garnet, amber, linerite, moonstone and iolite. I gave his other concept to Merlin and he made this from it. This plant produces a very sturdy material that you can harvest and later refine to build structures with. This material also regrows, but it takes quite a while. We also received some other designs, like this one made by Glitchy Axe, and this is the model for it right now. It might change a little bit in the future though. This was also made by Merlin. In addition to those, we also received some in the comment section, but these will take some more time, because we prioritize the ones which we have concept art for. But still, thank you. The next feature I promised was the plant growing system. The plan is to have a few designated structures you can build to plant something in. And the only ones we have right now are these pots made by Pug. You can open the pot's inventory and place a seed inside. The plant will then start growing and can be harvested for resources when it has finished. To have a seed to work with, I made this simple seed called a Garama seed. I'm just wondering what it will grow into in the future. There's also a plan to add different modes to the plants. For example, needs more light or more water, and some plants are going to need more light than others, and some other plants will even need the toxic rain to grow, while others will perish when not given normal water. The next thing I said that would be added is the mothership arriving to collect resources. And here it is. Although it's just a white block right now, I'm sorry, the model is not made yet, it starts to come down from the sky when a certain timer reaches 0. It collects all the resources that the player has put into this container here, and in return gives the player the points that all the resources are worth. These points will be a currency with which the player can buy stuff from the company in the future. So now we come to the concept of quests. For now there's only one way to get quests, and that is by the company. They request certain items, and if you bring these items to the ship, it gives you a key progression item in return. For the first quest, for example, you will receive a small drill, with which you can start mining ores and advance further. For the next quest, I also have a very cool item on mind, called an energy core. You can speculate about what this could be used for in the comments. I will tell you next episode. I'm also thinking about maybe having another source of quests that give you key items, maybe from the local population, but these plans are far from being done. Now to the redesigned HUD. Well, in theory it's done, but not quite. I'm not sure what parts of it are going to change, but the direction it's going in will stay the same. The steel production. Well, it's not only the steel production, but rather an ore smelting system. For one, there's the blast furnace. You can put fuel, that would be coal and coke for now. I will explain coke in a bit. And there is a cap of 20 pieces of fuel. With each piece the temperature gets hotter, and every ore has a melting point, which you have to reach if you want to smelt it. If the furnace is hot enough, it will do its thing, and a little while later, the new ingots will come out. And that's the process for normal ore. I'm also planning to add an indicator on how hot the furnace is at the moment. Now to the steel. Steel in real life is just iron and carbon. You somehow fuse these together and you get the sturdy steel. In the steel production, the fuel used is called coke, which is a very carbon-rich material. It is made from coal in a coke furnace. So that's the other furnace I made. You can put coal into it and then press the start button, and sometime later the coke will come rolling out. You can then use coke as fuel and put iron ingots into the blast furnace to get steel. Coke also works as normal fuel, but it burns a lot hotter and it has carbon. I said more materials and buildable pieces, right? Well, more materials were added with the gems, the flour material and the seeds. Build pieces not so much. I mean, yeah, we got the furnaces, but not much more except for these two. And that's why the next episode will focus a lot more on building. Your base will have walls, other defenses, and more key structures to create other items. Maybe an ore mining system is what I said. And the funny thing is, that was actually the first thing I did after the last video. I first needed a system for the players to use an item in their inventory, and the first slot now functions as an active slot. The item you put in there is displayed in your right hand, and if you have a tool equipped, you can use it. The tool I made first is the so-called small drill. You can aim it at ore deposits to mine them, and the ore will break off for you to pick up. The last thing I did this episode was starting to code a save system for the game. I'm not gonna go into detail about it, but it's a pain, I'm telling you that. The cool thing about it is seeing the game come to life, because every time you close the game, the progress you made and the things you built are still there. And that's very, very cool. So what's next episode gonna be like? We still need more plant ideas, so if you have some, drop them in the Discord. And for this episode we also need suggestions regarding the locals. What should they look like? What could they task the player to do? And what items could they trade with the player? That's now up to you. If you like this project so far and want to support it a little more than just writing comments and giving suggestions, I want to remind you that we have a Patreon. We do not offer services there, it's just for raising some money to continue working on this great project. We would really appreciate it if you checked it out and subscribed. Already, thank you so much. Now let's get back to the video. For next episode, the following things are planned. More build pieces, enough to build a base with. A finalized HUD. The locals. More plants. The first animals. A model for the mothership. the energy core and everything surrounding it. And that should be enough, and hopefully me and the team can complete it as good as in this episode. I hope you liked the video, and again a small reminder, join the Discord server. Have a great rest of your day, and bye.